Hello grade 11, we're going to do arrays, but before we do that, just take note of this program we're going to use. This has got everything in for the whole syllabus for grade 11 and 12. As you can see, I've divided it up, the grade 11 content and grade 12 content. This is the database tab. I'm focusing on this before I go to arrays, because when you open this program for the first time, you will open the .dpr file, okay? So you need to know this stuff for your PAT and for the databases anyway. So you'll find when you run this program that it will give an error like that. Just click on break and go run program reset, and then we have to go and open the data module. So you go file, open, and then it will default to the folder where you opened the original program, and you find the dmtraining.pas, the data module. Open that, and then we have to go and connect the database again. So you click on the connection component there, and then the 3 dots next to connection string, and then go to build. Let me just move this onto your screen there. I'm working with 2 screens. Now it'll show there, and that's good and right, but it doesn't. But you know, you can test connection, it's not going to work. So we have to go and reconnect, and you just go and click on the database. It'll open the database, and then you'll test the connection. Get rid of admin. Not that I don't think it makes any difference, but over here we have to delete the path. And that doesn't seem to make any difference either, but never mind, I'll delete the path anyway. And then click OK. And that's fine now. Then you need to go to all your different tables and TBL components and click on the active property for each one and make them true, except for the query. You do not touch the query component. That doesn't have to be true. In fact, you must leave it alone. That is for grade 12, so don't worry about that. These are the 3 ADO table components, but we're not going to do database now. I just want to show you how to get it working. So there's your program, and we're going to run the program now. I fixed up the data module, and now you'll see it'll be fine. Okay, and then we're going to do this section here now, the array section. We'll go back and do some databases again before your exam. We're going to do arrays. We'll do text file and databases for the exams, but we're going to do arrays now, and user-defined methods. No, you don't have to do user-defined methods. That's no longer grade 11 syllabus for this year. So arrays is all that you have left to do, and then we can do some revision. So I'm going to do arrays now. We're going to do the array tab. And here it says declare an array of 5 characters and fill it with random characters. So in this button click event, I'll just double click the button, I'll declare an array of 5 characters. And that is how we do it. You say AR chars, colon array 1 to 5 of char. Okay, I already did it. And then we have to fill it up with random characters. So the best way is to get a string and make it equal to the letters of the alphabet, and we know there's 26, so I declared it as a constant, string constant with those 26 letters of the alphabet. Now remember, you must know how to declare an array. We've done that already. So there's 1 to 5 of char, characters in each box. We've got our string of letters of the alphabet. Now to fill up every single box of the array, we know we're going to go through each box, so we use a for loop. So we've got a for loop counter, okay, for k equals 1 to 5, and then we're going to generate a random number each time. The random number must be from random range 1, 27. That's the format of using random range. Then we go and put that character for this particular RAN character number. We're going to put it in AR chars of this code. This line over here is basically putting whichever random number. If the random number was 4, then the letter D would be in box number whatever K is. So that is how we do it. AR chars box number K equals the string character number rand. Can you see we use square brackets for arrays and square brackets for strings, but they mean different things. So the K is the index number and the rand is our character number of a string. So you must know the difference between those two. Then they say display the first and the second last character in the rich edit. So there it is. arrays.lines.add a of char's character number 1, then plus a space, and then plus character number 4, because that is the second last one, and that's it. So let's go and check that it's working. I know that I've connected my database, so it's fine. Right click the button. So S and R was the characters that were randomly generated. I can go and do more. R, Z, G, I, K, B, W, S, so on. Right, so those are the random numbers, and we use the random number to access the string of alphabets. Right, now we're going to do declare an array of 7 integers using char character data type as indices. So your box numbers are going to be in characters, not numbers. So let's go and do that. Double click the button. VAR, ARR, what are we going to call it? Stuff. Colon, array. So it must be 7 integers. So we can start from the character number D. D, E, F, G, H, R, J. As long as we have 7 boxes there of integer. But obviously, you know, let's rather go do from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Small letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or we can go from capital letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, that's 7. So we're flexible over there. So there we've declared an array of 7 integers using char's indices. The user must input how many numbers to add and then input those numbers. So we will make how many numbers do we want does the user want to fill in this array of integers? Well, we need to have a counter. Okay, and our count array is going to be equal to string to int, the input box statement, which will ask them enter a number from 1 to 7, because that will give us how many numbers they want to enter. And we'll make them random numbers. Okay, the instruction didn't say it must be random numbers. I'm going to put in each box, but 7 box. It depends on what the user types in. If the user says 3, then we're only going to put 3 boxes in. I mean 3 numbers. We're only going to fill 3 boxes of the array. But our count AR is going to hold that number, the number that's going to be filled. Now we're going to use a for loop. Yeah, why not? Of course, we're going to go from K for K equals 1 to our count ARR, the number of boxes. So if our count, if the user typed in 3, then our count A is going to go 1, 2, and 3. And what are we going to do for each time? Our stuff box number. Yeah, but here's the issue, because we're dealing with characters as indices. So we've got a serious problem here. We have to actually have a character that's going to be incremented, and we know how to do that, don't we? If we say we're going to have a character data type C char equals A, start at A, like a counter that we initialize to 0, we start our character with A, and then we use the successor of each one. So we can use a function called succ. But we need to have a starting point, a char data type, and we initialize it. Yeah, it's weird, but we're going to initialize it for sure. So we say C char equals, just like we initialize counters, we're initializing our character, and then we fill in box number C char. We know it's going to start with the letter A, And let's go and just put in a random number from 1 to 10, okay, in each box. But box number A is going to be the first box. We now got to get the successor, the next one. So we use that function. Can you see what we're doing there? We had to go from 1 to R count A or R because the user typed in like 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, up to the number 7, okay? We had to enter a number from 1 to 7, and then we had to have some kind of a counter so that our indices can go from A to G. And R count A or R can only be actually maximum 7 because we told it they must enter a number from 1 to 7, alright? We can have some error correcting messages here saying if, you know, if R count A or R is greater than 7, if R count A, and if it's a negative number, we don't want that either here. So if R count A or R is greater than 7, or R count A or R is less than 1, let's think about that. Is that all? Well, anyway, we want to give an error message here. Let's do this. We'll show message and exit. Only numbers from 1 to 7, please, and exit. So there's our error checking. But is this all correct? We can't have an and there because if there's an and, it's going to happen. Can R count A or B two things at the same time? Never, ever. So all will be fine. And we'll test it out just now. So we're checking if the user typed in the right number, okay, from 1 to 7. And then we go and initialize our C char, and then we basically, this is the same as incrementing a character. So you must remember that. You can increment a character. It's a trick to learn and will save you a lot of heartache. So we have the array which numbered from A to G, and then we're incrementing a character called C char for each run of the for loop from 1 to R count A or R. So if R count A or R is 7, then this C char is going to go all the way to G, isn't it? If R count A or R is 2, then C char will only be up to A and B. And each time in the loop, we go and put a random number in. Always must remember where you're going to, you've got to start with a character over there. And then the first box is going to be box number A. And then we go to the next one. The successor of A is B, and so on. So that's all going to happen in the loop. Study that. And let's go and run it and see what, there's no point running it. We're supposed to display it. And there's no functionality because we haven't displayed it, eh? Alright, so let's go and display it. And they said display the array displayed in the rich edit. So there's another thing, displaying the rich edit, but now you know that we're going to use a for loop because we want to go through each box, don't we? Yeah, but we actually want to go through each box using we only want to display the ones that were filled. So we have to do the same thing again, a for loop, and start with a character A and get the successor of that character. And then, but before we go get the successor, we must display already arrays dot lines dot add, and in square brackets, in round brackets, say A or R stuff square brackets C char. You see, we had to use the index C char. I nearly put a K in there, and that wouldn't have worked because remember that AR stuff has indices. These indices are, or box numbers, what do you want to call them? These numbering agents here, they are characters. So you can't put an integer in here. you have to put a char data type in there, and that's what this char data type is. So as that's running from 1 to 2, then C char is going to go from A to B, and so on. If that's 1 to 3, then it'll be A, B, C. C char will be A, B, C. So that's the concept that you must learn. And then now you're going to answer some questions for a test, and I'll see you tomorrow.